It is the Mosley Show, coming to you live from Mosley Studios in Dallas, Texas, the heart of Dallas. Beautiful, leafy Lake Highlands. Great to have Scotty Swingler along. Scotty filling in for Pete today on that show. That was at about 10 a.m. and doing some good work. Good to have Lizzie with us today. Get those allergies checked out, Lizzie. But she's doing some good work, and pleased to have all our sponsors and more on the way. It is very exciting time to be associated with the Matt Mosley Show. Ascension Providence, of course, that group of doctors, the things they do, the surgical team out there, so talented. And then our presenting sponsor, Central National Bank, CNB. There it is. Central National Bank. Thank you, Brian Fonville. Thank you, Joe. They'll be ready for this Baylor women's season. They are the primary sponsors of Baylor women's basketball, and they are the presenting sponsors of the Mosley Show. And then also, Scotty, shall we not forget, today's Thursday. It's Trivia Thursday. So at some point today, we will have Trivia Thursday. Schmaltz's, the greatest sandwich shop in all of Central Texas. And I'm anxious to see. Scotty will often have a pretty tough one. I generally have something in mind if Scotty needs backup today. There's always something kind of, that's kind of I'm kicking around in my mind when it comes to trivia. But I want to start today. And boy, Lizzie will be excited about this, even though this name, Lizzie was not born when this man was coaching. I believe his last year would have been, around 1989. He finished up his unreal run from 1973 to 1989. Barry Switzer basically ran college football. 3 national titles, played for several more. Unbelievable recruiter. A great man, a great guy, he's just one of the great all-time college coaches that won a Super Bowl, by the way, with the Dallas Cowboys, and was featured prominently in that Jerry Jones documentary that came out recently. In fact, I thought Barry looked good with that beard he was wearing. Barry earlier this week, turned 88 years old. And we will share with you our sit down for Texas OU. I mean, Scotty, when it comes to who you could get for Texas OU weekend, what says more Texas OU than Barry Switzer? I don't think Bob Stoops. I don't think the great Fred Akers. I don't think Mac Brown, even Sark himself, or Brent Venables. I think the most Texas OU person you could find. You could make an argument for Earl Campbell. You could make an argument for Billy Sims or somebody like that. But for my money, it is the King, is what he was known as. It is Barry Switzer, 88 years old. And as you'll find out at 2 o'clock today, all those names, all those recruits is still just right there at the tip of his tongue. He is unbelievable. And and if you say something like, I said something to him today, Scotty, about like Greenville, or I mentioned the name, wherever. Any town in Texas, boom, 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 boom. Every kid he ever recruited from there. And this is at 88 years old. And I tried to ask him, Scotty, on behalf of all of us, like, how do you do that? What do you attribute that to? And he just said he was blessed and all that. But great stories of recruiting the Boz. And then that 84 game that ended in a tie when they got a bad call went against them. When they had no replay back then. And OU had an interception. And then 2 plays before that, Casillas jumped on a fumble and they lost out on both of those plays. And at the gun, Jeff Ward hit a field goal, and Texas tied that game 15-15. It still gets like a visceral reaction from Barry. But the great Barry Switzer will join us. And Scotty, as we talked to Barry earlier today, he was crossing that Red River. He had just crossed the Red River, and he was headed this way. And let's see. I think tomorrow night we'll see him out at, he'll be at Bob's Steak and Chop House. That's a great gathering place. He always has the same table. They get him back here in the back where he's not bothered too much, although nobody can bother Barry. He likes talking to people and taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. Switzer will be at the famous Bob's Steak and Chop House down on Lemon. And I used to go there on the night before Texas OU. That'll be a scene. And I'm reminded, Scotty, that when I was a kid, which was back in the, the 80s, they would make all these in the 70s and 80s, WFAA and the other local news, they would be getting ready for Texas OU. And they would be down standing on Commerce in downtown Dallas or Deep Ellum saying, this will be the scene of the biggest. And it would be the craziest. All the cars and everybody would congregate down there, and the partying and the over the top. And they would arrest 600 to 1,000 people. This was Texas OU weekend back in the day. I would say, while it's still crazy down there on Lower Greenville and maybe even downtown Dallas, it's not quite what it used to be. That was a wild time. So here we are, Texas OU weekend. Baylor has the bye. I think no one's happier than Scotty. For 1 week, we will not have our YouTube Green and Gold pregame show, and we'll take the time off, and then we'll be back. Apparently, we have several locations. Our location scouts have been out, and we've secured a few spots at TCU campus, and Scotty can come in here and tell us if we have finalized that. But sometime, especially maybe early next week, we'll have I don't know if it'll be a bar. I don't know if it'll be an on-campus place, but we will be on the scene to do our pregame show from the TCU campus as the Bears and the Horned Frogs get ready to get it on next week. And, hey, both those teams, we'll see what TCU does Saturday, but both those teams could be just one-loss teams. And if Baylor could win that game, I think they sort of start to get back in the conversation a little bit. What about those Bears? What about those old Bears at 5-2? Do we have to think? Do we think about the Bears? Because only one of their losses, the two losses, was a conference loss. Let's remember that. And last year, everybody wrote the Bears off, but the Bears almost backdoored their way into the conversation. And because one of their losses last year was not an actual conference loss, or was that 2 years ago? I don't know. It's hard to even remember. Was the Utah game last year, Scotty? I think the Utah game last year was not actually a conference game because it was already on the books.
That is correct. Utah last year was a non-conference game. You are absolutely correct.
Scotty, either to mock me or pay tribute to me, has his sunglasses on. Have you gotten Ray-Bans now? I got to take my glasses off to even see.
Like
Ray-Bans.
Matt, I have always preferred the Ray-Ban style of sunglasses. However, I don't make nearly the amount of money doing this that you do as the old industry veteran you are. So I have never in my life owned a real pair of Ray-Bans. As a matter of fact, these were a promotional item. I don't know that you can read that from a Houston brewery that did a pint night here in Waco recently. Lizzie actually retrieved these sunglasses for me a couple weeks ago.
Lizzie's too young to be attending those sorts of functions. I don't even know if she
is not. She is legally allowed to be at such functions. She is of age.
But I don't want to support Houstonians. We got our own breweries. We don't really need people from Houston coming in and then take it. But I guess the breweries are friends. And so in some weird way, when a brewery comes to town like they
Matt,
probably help out the brewery they go to. Okay,
that is true. And Matt,
yeah.
when you grow up in Waco, you know, I tend to root for Dallas area teams.
Yeah, I hope.
If I'm going to go spend a weekend in a big city, Dallas is very high on my list. But the bottom line is, if you're a Texas business, be it a brewery, be it a like a Hole in the Roof here in Waco, they do all the merch and the marketing and like if you're a Texas business, I'm gonna probably like be on your team and support you. So I don't mind. And by the way, I think I've mentioned this to you. The best barbecue in the state, people don't know this, is in Houston. Like it just is.
Yeah. Well,
it just is.
Dallas people, which I am, yeah, we just Houston is kind of like I mean, I've got great friends there, but just barely even a part of the state. We just we hardly acknowledge it. Although, boy, my daughter's finding out that is a hotbed of. They do send off the Aggies, and of course they have their fair share of horns and a lot of Baylor people. But you and I have had a discussion when it comes to Baylor. I think we think it's DFW 1, Houston 2, and I think that's almost a tie. And then you argue that Austin might be 3rd, and then San Antonio 4th. And then I don't really know what comes after that. Like then you get into your, like Abilene's and Wichita Falls and San Angelo.
Nah, then you get to people that go out of state, I think.
Maybe. But all those other places I mentioned, they're all
and
good.
Waco,
Like
and Waco, a ton.
Yeah,
a ton stay in Waco, or within 4 years they're back in Waco. I mean,
used to get a ton of Lubbock people that don't want to stay home and go to Texas Tech. They wanted to get out and just see America.
Well, but your friend declared that the Big 12 runs through Lubbock now, so I guess they're all going to stay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't heard from him since we released that short of me just going off on that situation. Mike Craven from Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I thought that was. I need to kind of read. I did go back and read that. Sometimes I'm like, did they just take the headline or something and make that the headline? But he kind of seemed like he was suggesting that the Big 12 runs through. I even think Joey and some of my Red Raider friends would agree that that's a little out there. I mean, they are excited and they should be excited. They're top 10 in the country. That's very, very exciting. But there's a long way to go. It's like, I don't know who right now is more like kind of out there over their skis, the Aggies or the Red Raiders. They're both out there. I think both of them understand what it is to be disappointed when you get excited and have hot starts and all. I'm trying to think who is more delusional between the Aggies and the Red Raiders. I would say probably Aggies, because I think they can always convince themselves that, oh my gosh, this is going to be different. Although I'm talking to a lot of them that are still, I mean, they have a long way to go. I mean, Florida's that's not a done deal. Florida comes in, there'll be 100. I mean, the great thing for the Ags is, and by the way, Scotty, I'm proud of you because I think you've stayed out of it too. This nonsense on social media during the bye week about like fighting over the Baylor. Oh my gosh! I mean, I've said it. It's just unfortunate. I've said it at the time. I said it on one of our pregame shows. I said they had these incredible opportunities. They got a redo against Arizona State, and you and I both knew if they lost both those games, that we can't act so just shocked and surprised that the fans didn't show up for that Kansas State game. We knew it. We predicted it. It happened. So I'm not going to get on social media and just beat everybody up. Where are you guys? How are you not supporting our guys? How are you not supporting our players?
Well,
we saw it coming. You had great crowds. They were excited. And you did not reward them.
That's right.
So it's an 11 a.m. start. on ESPN Plus, which I love ESPN Plus. And our own Pete, did the game. Our own Pete Souza did the game. So I'm excited about that. Now I'm going to talk to Pete about what radio shows he's doing. Okay, I have not had a chance to visit with him about that, but I just don't understand why Baylor gets into this, and then we fight each other and we get mad. Where is everybody? And here's what we love to do. We love to, those of us that were at the game, I would say even people that weren't at that game, Scotty, are out there on social media ripping everybody else. I would say that's the last people that can be out there ripping the Baylor fandom if you didn't care enough to get your rear down here. If you didn't care enough to have your rear in that stadium. Give me a break. Now, unfortunately, Scotty, as you and I have said, we're not K-State. We're not Iowa State. We're certainly not OU. We're not A&M. We're not Texas. Our fans don't show up when we're bad. Okay, and I'm not saying we're bad this season, but they had played 3 home games and they'd lost against the two competitive teams. And our fans just said, to heck with you. And then they all left. The fans that were there, a ton of them left when Baylor was down 31-17 late in that game. I mean, call it what it is. I mean, part of it is, Scotty, let's just be honest. People are sick of this head coach. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to lie about it? Are we going to try to tell you that everybody's excited about Dave Aranda? They're not. They're sick of Dave Aranda. They don't think he brings any fire to the table. We've been having that conversation now for years. So, I mean, some of this isn't new. But I'm saying, Scotty, I think you and I have done the appropriate thing in not spending our bye week fighting and getting mad at people for not being at the games.
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it. I think, I appreciate the desire, and you all know the main actor I'm talking about here, but there's others. I appreciate the desire to have a fan culture that is loyal and loud and engaged. I feel that way. I appreciate that feeling and that desire for Baylor. And yet it would also just be lying to yourself, as you pointed out, to pretend that Baylor's ever really had that outside of the student section on great years. And, for better or worse, at least half the people that hold season tickets for Baylor are old Baptist people here in Waco, and they're not going to be as engaged as a guy in his 30s who doesn't mind screaming a whole game. So,
people your age are starting to have kids like you just
right,
did.
Right.
And they have more excuses, and then their kids start playing soccer, and then
Right.
it becomes harder and harder to get down there. And so you lose a lot of times the people in their late 20s and 30s for like a decade or more.
Yep.
I mean, I just had one child, and I don't know how many you'll have, Scotty, but I had one child. And I mean, it was crazy trying to continue, especially when she got into high school and junior high and dance and all the stuff. And of course, I was, especially when I've been working for the past 7 or 8 years in Waco, so I had to be there. But if I didn't, I don't know if I would have been there for all those games. But for years, we didn't miss. But it's hard. I get it. But I don't know if the answer is to shame everybody and to, how dare you not show up and this and that, and to make everybody feel bad. It was a great comeback. It was a great win. And if I would say, Scotty, you know how we talk about like teams in the NFL that are really good at situational football? Baylor has good situational fans. Like if you put them in the right situation, which is, speaking of Houston, okay, guys, we're in the Elite Eight, and we're going to be down here at this football stadium playing in the Elite Eight. that was one of the proudest days of my entire Baylor fandom, because I mean, it was Baylor and Duke. And of the 50,000 people who showed up, or whatever it was, for that basketball game, at least 35 to 40 were Baylor fans. It was awesome. It was incredible. So it can be done. Like, they're capable. The Bears fans are capable of showing up and getting way into it. And you saw it during the Bryles years. You saw it some as rules started to turn things around. But listen, Dave Aranda knows this better than anybody, and he said it before in some of his talks. You've got to show them something. You've got to win to get them there and to get them to stay and all that kind of stuff. So again, part of this is Scotty and I are not. I mean, I just spent probably more time than I meant to. Now we've got Campus Confidential coming up, and then a reminder. Barry Switzer today at 2:00. And Coach Switzer is he's unbelievable. He's just the greatest. And I just don't, when it comes to his memory and the fun stuff, and he's 88, when somebody gets to that age, you just don't know how many more interviews you'll get to do with them. And so these are really special to me, and especially with it being Texas OU week, or some would call it OU Texas. I don't know if you get to do it by who won the last game, which would be Texas OU if you did it that way. All right. The Cowboys I wanted to kind of give you the latest on injury reports as we're getting later into this week, because you start to see more, and then you start to see like who's out at practice today. Cowboys, the good news is Tyler Guyton, who's did not play because of concussion protocol, has been back in a limited fashion. Booker, the starting right guard, he's been back. Tyler Smith has been back in a limited fashion. I think these people are all, just so we're clear, like yesterday's injury report, which is the first one of the week, was massive. Like the guys who did not participate were Donovan Wilson, Kevontae Turpin, Jack Sanborn, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Booker. The limited was it's too many not to mention. I mean, it's like crazy amount. And then, what scares you there is Trayvon Diggs was limited with the knee. Deron Bland was limited with the shoulder. But I think today you're starting to get some better news. Now, about an hour ago, the defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, spoke. And again, this is after, all week, Scotty and I have been talking about, okay, where are they in all this? How much consolation do you take, or how much better do you feel? Because the defense is pretty good against the Jets. Eberflus was asked about this. He said, we took a step. We took a step in the right direction. We got to take another step. Okay. That's fine. He's not getting crazy. He's not getting crazy about this. He's not overdoing it. So I got no issue with that. He's not out there pom-pomming this thing. As we kind of look at where all these Cowboys are, there's just a lot of dudes on this injury list. As the day unfolds, we'll give you more of this. But some of the guys are starting to move around a little bit. I think Turpin was limited today, and I think that's good. And then let me look real quick to see the latest from our buddy Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He's always good with the latest information. These are the Cowboys not at practice Thursday. This is from 18 seconds ago. All right, so you're getting real-time updates. These guys were not at practice. Joe Milton, the backup quarterback, Miles Sanders, backup running back, Dante Fowler Jr., defensive end, Jack Sanborn, concussion protocol, Kevontae Turpin. All right, okay, so we thought Turpin was going to actually be out there a little bit today. Didn't happen. See, those guys were not at practice. Donovan Wilson, the safety, was back at practice after missing Wednesday. So there you go. There you go. Some good stuff from the from Nick Harris breaking as we get ready to do some Campus Confidential. Now, in campus, we got all kinds of stuff. We do have last night, and Scotty knows this, late last night, North Carolina, UNC started putting out some tweets. And we've heard more today. We've got UNC, we got recruiting violations, we've had reports throughout the week. Would Bill Belichick even make it to this next game? Their next game is a Friday night game on the 17th. Yeah, 17th out at Cal Berkeley. Yesterday I may have been saying it was, okay, it's not this coming Friday. It's the following week. And some people wonder if Bill Belichick will make it to that. Scotty, don't you kind of keep just kind of rubbing your hands like, when is Pablo Torre going to put out another report? Pablo finds out. The podcast. Yes. He's had a lot on the Clippers. He had a lot on Bill Belichick and his girlfriend.
Listen, he's got to be salivating.
He's got to be ready to go.
I have no doubt he has spent much of this week. His episode today, he put out a new episode today, and it was a conversation with Dan Patrick about leaving ESPN and all that, which was great. I like Dan Patrick. But I have no doubt he's made several phone calls to whoever he's got sourced in there. And it would shock me if he doesn't have something in the next week detailing some of this going on. And yeah, I'll share more in Campus Confidential, but Bill Belichick is not pleased that the fact that people inside the building are talking to anyone.
All right. There you go. Now, Scotty, I thought it would be a great time to bring up the Schmaltz's trivia contest. It is Thursday. And I always have one, but if you have one, I always love to go with yours because you do such beautiful graphics, but I also handed you a lot of work at the last second today. So we can go any way you want to go here.
I do have one. Let me load in the graphic real quick. There we go. Okay. Schmaltz's Trivia Thursday. Again, if you're watching along, you can comment on the live chat. We'll also monitor Twitter for any replies. We got Barry Switzer on the show today, Matt. And of course, big part of that is the Red River rivalry resumes on Saturday. Texas and OU. It's one of the most historied rivalries in college football. And if you watched the Pete, this is my only hint. I'm giving a hint. If you watched the Pete Souza show today, you would have gotten a clue about the answer to this question. The question is, who has thrown for the most yards in a single Red River rivalry game? Who has thrown for the most yards in one single Red River rivalry game? Would love to see your answers in the live chat. And if you answer this correctly, we'll give you a free schmaltz.
That's interesting because one comes to mind, and the comment section on our YouTube. Or if you're listening to us and you don't really want to mess with the comments right now, or you're driving and somehow listening to us, well, I don't really want them to text us while they're driving. I was going to say, hit us up on our Twitter.
And here's
I'm at Matt Mosley, MattMosley. Go ahead, Scotty. Sorry,
and Matt. You said someone comes to mind for you.
Yeah.
The top two players are within 3 yards of one another here.
Wow.
So it was actually a very close.
Within the past 30 years.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Yes. This player was within the last 30 years. Okay.
Because, yeah. I mean, we're talking because we're in 2025. So, yeah, it goes back to 95 or after. And that rules out some unbelievable names like like the guy who won 4 straight for the Longhorns back in the day. I don't think he was considered one of the greatest Longhorn quarterbacks of all time, but he beat those Sooners 4 straight years.
Well,
that would be, huh?
Matt, I really thought this would be interesting just because both of these programs have had so many great college football quarterbacks over the years. I mean, there were, when I decided on this question, there were about 10 names that came to mind that I was like, well,
Yeah.
could be him, could be him, could be him. Well, there is a guy who has the most. I would love to know in the comments. No correct answers down there yet.
Okay, coming in the comments. The guy I was talking to, Scotty, was Peter Gardere, the great Texas quarterback who 4 straight wins over the Sooners. I think about his great run. I think of all the Heisman OU winners. Now, the Texas Heisman winners, you go back to Earl, then you have Ricky. Remember, Vince didn't get it. Reggie got it.
Colt didn't get it either.
Nope.
All right, Bobby B has submitted the first guess. Colt McCoy. Great guess. It is incorrect.
All right. Well, keep them coming on the Mosley show. I just think of those great ones. I'm trying to remember, like if Baker, and I've not looked this up. I'm trying to think of Jason White and Hibble and the coach at Tennessee now, and I'm thinking of Sam Bradford and Jason White, and oh my gosh, so many greats. What's funny is way more OU quarterbacks come to mind than Texas quarterbacks.
Matt, we have a correct answer in the comments.
Okay. Ooh, I love that you have the graphic ready for it. That is too good.
Bobby B. Baker Mayfield indeed has the record for the most passing yards in a single Red River rivalry game. In 2016, he threw for 390 against the Texas Longhorns. By the way, Matt, you mentioned it. Sam Bradford, 387 within 3 yards of this. But Baker takes the cake. I did a segment this morning on Pete's show on how much I like watching Baker Mayfield play for the Buccaneers. But, of course, he was a Heisman winner at Oklahoma, and there's your record. So, Bobby B., you can reach out to me. There's my email, Scotty@roguemedianetwork.com, and I will make sure we get you a free schmaltz, man. Thanks for playing.
2 free sandwiches, 2 schmaltz. Wow. That's pretty awesome to get that schmaltz's coupon. Scotty will tell you exactly how to do it. And Scotty, I mean, if you'll use one of your coupons on Scotty, he'll just walk right over there and meet you at that Franklin location.
That's true. I will take free food anytime.
Britt
Absolutely.
Tully, the new owner at Schmaltz's. Wow. Man, they do a great job over there, and I love Schmaltz's. I even love that logo. That's a good looking. It looks like a place you would either get a great sandwich or maybe even walk in there and they might have a mug of something, either root beer or actual beer. I don't know. It has that look to it. It looks like some place too that you might find in Austin, but you find it right here in Central Texas, the great Schmaltz. All right. We are rolling, and it is time. I hinted at that UNC. And just a reminder, at 2 o'clock, we are going to let you hear the interview we've done with the great Barry Switzer, the former OU coach, the College Football Hall of Famer, and a man who now, by the way, Scotty, are we able to, can we keep it in if he drops an S-bomb? in this? I think we're allowed. I think we're allowed on YouTube.
It's YouTube. We're allowed.
Okay. All right. Nice. And I mean, there's a chance that Souza occasionally lets some of that Philly slip out of him and maybe uses a word that we would regret. Okay. It is the Mosley Show. We continue on. It is time for Campus Confidential. That is next.